I'm Brad Amberhart, and I enjoy living my life thoroughly every day. But when people ask me what I do, usually what I tell them is I'm a Tantric sex coach, a sacred intimate, and a spiritual advisor. I was brought up in a small town, and I was brought up Southern Baptist. And there were times during my upbringing, when I felt like this is the most conservative place in the world I could live, and there didn't seem to be room in my spiritual upbringing for my sexual expression. When I left home, my sexuality was really coming to the forefront, because at age 18, I was still a virgin. I cried on my 18th birthday in the morning when my mother lit a candle on an orange Danish roll for me on my 18th birthday. I just started crying, and I told my mother, you know, I don't want to die a virgin. And she was really concerned. And she didn't want me to die a virgin either. So there was almost like this collective pep rally in my family for me to get laid. Because my parents were really sex positive, and they really wanted me to have a joyous sex life. It's just the prospect of having a sex life primarily with men just never crossed their mind. It just never occurred to them that my sexual orientation might be toward men.
Hey guys, Davey Wavy here, creator of Himeros.tv. As you can see from this video, Himeros.tv is a very different kind of porn site. Our emphasis is on things like connection and vulnerability and authenticity and community. And if those are things that you feel like are missing from your porn experience, I would invite you to become a Himeros.tv member for 20% off. There are hundreds of hours of content, hundreds of videos, and you can enjoy all of those at a 20% discount, whether it's a 1 month, 3 month, or even a 1-year membership. Check it out at himeros.tv/sale.
I had a walk-in closet with a full-length mirror, and I would go in there almost every day and just jack off all over the mirror. And I had a huge stack of porn mags. I mean, I couldn't acknowledge that I really liked dick, but I tend to pick porn mags where, you know, there were women taking turns on one guy's dick, and I noticed all my porn mags had pictures of hot guys, so I started to acknowledge that I got the horniest by looking at the porn mags that had guys in them. And one day I was jacking off in the closet, looking at myself in the mirror, and it occurred to me that I could be doing this with someone else. And one of my homophobic roommates had told me the name of that gay bar with disdain when we were smoking pot one night. He goes, "You could always go to Nightingale's. Nightingales, Nightingales." So it's just echoing in my head while I'm jerking off in front of the mirror, and I get out the yellow pages, which is what we had before Google, and I looked up Nightingales, and I went there. And within 15 minutes, I was with a guy on the way to his house where we just unloaded cum all night long, at least 4 or 5 times. I met a Tantra teacher when I was about 25 years old. He had chosen to lead these Tantra workshops in a log cabin 40 miles from the place I was born and raised in North Carolina. In August, the heat of the summer, next to a farm pond in the forest. And that really excited me, but it also scared the hell out of me, because how could I ever explain going back to the place I was born and raised and learning about Tantra with 12 naked men in a log cabin? And someone who was flying in was supposed to come pick me up and take me to the Tantra workshop. Well, he had a car accident and he wasn't seriously injured, but he decided he didn't feel like coming to the Tantra workshop, and I no longer had a ride. And guess what? My mother and my grandmother suddenly were the people who were going to be taking me. So we get in the car and we drive an hour. We stop to eat fried chicken and blackberry cobbler and okra and sweet potatoes at a buffet. And then suddenly we're approaching the gate to a driveway that has a chain across it. So I unlock the gate, I move it aside, I get back in the car, and my mother goes, "I'm not going down there." I said, "Well, why not, Mom?" She said, "We're liable to get shot. This just don't feel right." And I said, "Well, my Tantra teacher is down there, Mom, and I've met him before, and he's a really beautiful man. I really want you to meet him." I didn't tell her that they had all been naked, but that I called ahead, and they told me they would put on their clothes to come meet my mother. She said, "I'm not gonna do it." So I backed the car out, I closed the gate, locked it, and waved goodbye. And then I went to meet several people who've become my lifelong friends. It was then that I learned that Tantra is not actually a system of learning to give us better orgasms. It's not just about whole body ecstasy. It's not about having an orgasm without ejaculation. They didn't talk about any of those things the first day. You know what they talked about? They talked about how Tantra is the marriage of opposites. It's actually finding space inside of one person for the slut that we are and the saint. It's about making space for the fact that I am the cherished grandson of a woman that had known me for nearly 30 years by that point, who had taught me the guitar and had taught me to pray and sing, that there was actually enough space inside of me, inside of this body, for me to still be a beloved grandson, and for me to really make love with men with the full passion that I have, to give me higher visions for my life. I could be all of that. And I devoted every day of my life since then to finding a way to make room inside of me for the spiritual leader that I am in my family, for the complete whore that I really love to be. I've even found a way to devote my sexual pleasure to envisioning a better world. So some of us think pleasuring the ass is related to a special skill and a special knowing of how to massage an asshole. And there are special sets of skills that we've already learned during this retreat by a very experienced teacher, an ass play aficionado. I really love my teacher with whom I studied for 15 years because one of his foundational principles of Tantra is the healing power of pleasure. I don't know what the latest figure is on the average length of gay men's hookups, but I periodically check in with guys that I hook up with online, and I ask them, usually before I get there, how long usually are you with someone when you hook up online? And they say, usually about 20 minutes. That includes the time from getting in the door, getting your clothes off, getting your cum out, maybe getting a shower or a quick towel off, and then leaving. Somewhere in there might have been 10 minutes of body-to-body erotic pleasure. So I've been doing this experiment throughout my sex life to find out what happens if we actually stay aroused and stay excited rather than getting our cum out quickly. Even as gay men, we consider ourselves perhaps at some time in our history we thought maybe we were more sexually liberated than the average people in our society. We were like in the frontier, we were the rule breakers, and we went beyond the boundaries of what society said we could do, and that is a really special role. And yet somehow, sometimes we feel we've settled into a role of more complacency. And perhaps we've forgotten that we were the trendsetters. We did approach frontiers, and there still are frontiers we haven't touched. And if we walk into a hookup with a hot guy and it's super fun and we come quickly and then we go, what did we miss out on? What happens if we actually stay? What happens if we're so excited we can just barely stand it and we decide to stay excited? Was there some unconscious part of us that said we can't stand to be excited? Being excited is too much. Unconsciously, we're holding a program that says, being excited is too much and I can't take this. So the invitation is, When you're in the midst of that excitement and you're just about to shoot that load, pause, hold one another, breathe. What if we came to know that every man that we're making love with, when we look into his eyes, he is that one, and not just that one we want to possess and to have and to hold forever, but a piece of the one whole, that every time we look in someone's eyes, we're seeing that one, that wholeness. How different would it be when every guy that we hook up with, whether it's at the beach, the bathhouse, in our bedroom in front of the fucking mirror, in the bathroom fucking against the tile wall, could we possibly conceive that he is the one? So if we could somehow manage that with every guy we are with without getting attached, then we would be living in a world full of men with whom we could share beautiful lovemaking. We would never run out of it.